joined today by a guy that I know extremely well and have really been looking forward to doing this one uh, with Coach Kevin Kling, new coach at Mitchell High School. And Coach, first of all, congratulations and thanks for joining us today.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
How did the job at Mitchell come about for you?
When everything kind of opened up, it was like, because the job opened up here at Princeton, and I looked at the Eastern Green job and I looked at the Mitchell job, and really it kind of came down to my wife and my kids set me down and said, hey, you need to be a head coach again. Because I'd been a head coach up there at Triton. I mean, we built a relationship up there, but I hadn't been one since. And a lot of it, when you have two little bitty ones and trying to be committed to the program, and you got a 4-year-old and basically an infant, it's kind of hard to have your commitment split between all those other kids, the program, the youth, and all that development. And you've got, little ones at home that you're never seeing awake, that you come home, you get up in the morning and they're asleep, you go to work, you come home at night, they're in bed. And so it was kind of rough. And so when I sat down with the family and was talking about, doing the head coach thing, they're like, you got to go do it again. You've got unfinished business. And so I made a deal with them that I would find something that isn't real far away from home. My parents are older. My wife's parents are retired. So we didn't want to move real far away to go find a job. And, when I went and kind of looked, Mitchell, Eastern Green, and then obviously the Princeton job was still open. And I just, went and interviewed at Mitchell and Eastern Green. And, when I went to Mitchell, our AD, Amos Wagner, was all about kids first mentality. And that's how I coach. When I look at coaching kids, yeah, you got to demand things of kids, but you can't demand things of kids until you build relationships with them. And he was all about the relationship building, and it fit what I was about as a coach. And it's a program that, wants to improve and wants to be better, and the community wants it to improve. They want to be consistent, and you top it off with the dedication to the programs and stuff that they've got up there, as they're investing in these new facilities and new turf field. So the commitment's there from, the administration at the top all the way down through the athletic director, and the mood and the attitude towards what we want to do as far as coaching and working with kids was right on board with me. And when you find a place like that, it's a kind of a special thing when you find it where everybody's kind of, in the same mindset with dealing with student athletes as I am. So
now you've been at Princeton the last couple years. What's been your role over there?
I've been the defensive coordinator. It's kind of what I've done since I've been since I left Triton. I was, when we left Triton, we went to Kentucky, moved 4 hours away from home. But it was a chance to go build a program that, they had 2 wins in the 4 years before we'd gotten there. And everybody said it was a hopeless cause. So I went down there and got to be around some different coaches, guys from different areas, make some new friendships, build new relationships. But I got a chance to be challenged to build something that people said couldn't be built. And, working with those guys and building that program to get into a state championship game and losing to Covington Catholic. But, their tight end was playing plays at Notre Dame now. So, and he's probably going to be a second round draft pick in the NFL. So he was a sophomore and just was an absolute freak. But, we got a program that had won 2 games in 4 years to a state championship in 7 seasons. So a chance to build something was huge. And it was great for my personal development as a coach. Got to see some things that work, some things that I hadn't thought about, work with some guys and get some new ideas. And then we kind of came back here for a couple of reasons. One, my dad had gotten sick while I was down there. I had lost my grandfather while we were down there, and my dad was dealing with all that by himself, and it had gotten his health down. So we kind of moved back to be closer to home, with closer to family. And my wife still has a set of grandparents still alive. And, she wanted a chance to be around them while they were still, here and be able to have the boys interact with them. And so that was kind of what drove us to come back here.
Joined with Coach Kevin Kling, the newly hired coach at Mitchell High School. And Coach, I would be remiss if I didn't ask, how have you changed as a coach since your Triton Central days? You mentioned that both your kids and your wife kind of push you to chase being a head coach again. And I was fortunate enough to see you and work alongside you a little bit there at Triton. How have you changed? How have you grown as a coach since then?
To be honest with you, when I was up there at Triton, when you're a young coach, first time coach, you're plenty capable of making those first time mistakes. And I was just as guilty as anybody. Probably the biggest thing that's changed about me is my focus has transitioned from just wins and losses, which, when I played at a program that it was about winning in high school. I went to Wabash College, and that place is about winning at the college level. And then I coached at Evansville Reitz, which winning is a must at Evansville Reitz. So when I came there, the only things that I had drilled into my head as I saw it as a coach, it wasn't because of anybody else. It was what I saw it as wins and losses were important. And they are. But as I've gotten older and been around the game more, I've realized wins and losses come with how you build relationships.
Yep.
And so as a coach, I've been more focused on building the relationships with the players, talking about character, culture, trying to get kids to connect again, because, I always tell kids, we've got these now. And so this has taken the communication away. They just text each other. So when you have to communicate with each other, it's hard for kids. I mean, it's extremely hard to have one-on-one conversations. So, I've taken coaching to the point now is, it's not about wins and losses and about me and what I do. It's about what am I doing to develop a kid to be better for his community, to be better for his family, to be better for his employer, to be better for his kids. That's at the end of the day, that's what I've kind of boiled what I believe as far as a coach down to. Again, you treat kids the right way, build relationships with them. You work hard with them, and you show them that you care about them more than just a number on a jersey or on a roster. They're going to run through a wall for you. They're going to do things for you that people didn't think they could do. And at the end of the day, watching them walk across the stage, get a diploma, go into their next walk of life and be successful, and then see them come back when they're 30, 35 years old, like I've got some now, and they talk to you about, I appreciate everything that you've done for me to be a better dad for my kid, or to be a better husband, or be a better employee. I mean, that I've taken that to mean more than whatever my record will be as a head coach, because ultimately at the end of the day, that's going to help that young man be those things for his family and for his employer and for his community.
For you, this is kind of a interesting time as you're wrapping up at your current school while getting ready for your next school. How much time have you spent with the new guys at Mitchell, and what are you looking forward to once we get into May, June, and July and March closer to the season?
I've been going up, trying to get up there about once a week or so to meet with the kids, be around the kids, especially the after school work, going through the cafeteria and just, kind of getting to know kids, talking to kids about, who they think needs to try to be recruited to come out and play, who we need to keep around, who we need to continue to work on to get to buy in. And so I try to go meet with those kids. Like I said, we talked about earlier, before we got on here, yesterday we were out of school. So my whole family and I went up there to do some things, and then also have my son, who's going to be a senior, work out with their kids, get around their seniors so that he can meet their seniors. And I met with our seniors and talked about, that even though this transition's kind of, always transition isn't always smooth, we're going to do what we can to put the best season together for those kids that we can put together, and we're going to buy all the way into doing what we can for those seniors. A lot of times you get transitions and seniors are kind of left in the lurch. They were juniors and weren't ready, weren't the guys getting at the top of the food chain in the locker room. And then all of a sudden, they go through a transition and they feel like, well, what are we going to be able to do in 6 months or whatever to have a decent senior year. So you got to make sure you meet with those kids. And I think you have to meet with them special, outside of just the whole group, because they need to understand, one, that they're cared about, that we know they're there and that we're going to take care of them. But two, they need to understand what I'm going to ask of them as seniors, because I don't care, even this will be my 1 year to be around them. I'm still going to demand leadership of them, that they need to understand that this is what it means. And, you're going to get out of your senior year what you're willing to put in. So, if you're going to put in the full load to be the best leader you can be, we're going to get a much better senior year from you. I said, because I'm not going to, sit there and not pour in everything that I can pour in with my coaching staff to be the best senior year for you guys. So, it's a give take relationship, and I want them to understand that we're going to pour into them and not just let them, kind of say, hey, this is, your swan song, and sorry about the transition, but at the same time, I don't want them to say, what, the transitions kind of put a damper on things, and it's just easy to kind of be like, this, let's just go get it done instead of pushing for something special. And that's what we want to do. Is I wanted to let them know it's good. I want to try to make it as special as possible for them.
Have you had much chance to look at some of your guys that you have coming back and start putting in the offense and the defense that you want to run?
We haven't had a whole lot of chance to do that. You're at a small school and you're sharing athletes. There's a lot of kids in track, a lot of kids in baseball, and our baseball team, they've won 6 in a row, by the way. So they've been rocking right now. And a lot of those kids play football. So I'm glad to see that they're getting a taste of a lot of success right here with some wins in a row. But we've got a lot of guys out with that. We're still kind of recruiting guys. I'm trying to get time to get into the middle school, to get our 8th graders to come, that'll be incoming freshmen, to come and, get around them and make sure that they understand, that even though this transition, the new coach knows that you're coming, and we're going to do what we can to work with you to make you the best that you can possibly be too. So we've spent a lot more time with, speed and strength training. One of the things that I told those kids from day one is, if you want to win at the smaller school level, you develop speed and you develop power, and that ability to translate that speed and power on the field, you're going to win a lot faster. And so we've put in a speed development program that is already showing some dividends. We've got 4 kids that have hit over 20 miles an hour top end speed. So they're running in the 4.7s. We had 1 lineman that hit almost 19 miles an hour. That's 255 pounds. So that's a lot of meat moving at that fast. And I think we'll only get faster as we go through the summer. But we've been spending a lot of time getting our body ready. With so many kids out, it's kind of hard to do a lot of things. But
Right.
I knew we had to be faster. I knew we had to be stronger. And I knew we had to really build that mental side as far as overcoming adversity. And, those are the things that I like to hit right off the bat anyway, is make these kids, have to learn to fight for every last inch, because that's what's going to translate to Friday night. And so that's kind of what we've done, is we've made them hit adversity, made them do things in the weight room, different body movements and things like that, so that they're having to learn to use their bodies in different ways, develop speed, develop balance. So that's what we're looking at. And then on top of that, we're developing, all kinds of strength. So I think you're going to see some dividends. Will we have a extensive, 300-page offensive or defensive playbook? Absolutely not. But it's like I told the kids, at the end of the day, you got to be able to do a few things well and be able to, understand the few things that you're going to see and be able to execute faster and, with more impact than them. And at the end of the day, you don't have to do a lot to be able to be successful, but we've got to find a way to, work hard, work together, create a culture and an environment that breeds success and breeds team. And I want to make sure that that's done before we really do a whole lot else.
Well, Coach, I thank you for spending some time with us today. And I'm definitely looking forward to reconnecting with you as we get closer to August and once you and your family get settled down and seeing what you guys have in store this season.
Well, I'm excited to get up there. I mean, my family is excited to get up there. The community has been, and I can't speak enough about the Mitchell schools and their community up there. They have been so welcoming and so open to try to help whatever help they can provide. And, they've been so understanding, because I told the AD, and I'll finish with this story, and I'm sorry, I'm taking a lot of your time, but I told the AD and the superintendent when I interviewed the second time, I said, I'm fortunate enough to get offered this job. I said, there is no way that I can leave. I teach Latin here at Princeton, and I'm going to teach Latin up there, but I couldn't bring myself to leave some kids that are in Latin 2 in February or March. To me, if I'm going to go up there and talk about caring about kids and it being, about relationships, how could I just shatter relationships with kids that have, relied on me to be here through May? And they have been completely understanding about that. They wanted me to make sure I did that and make sure I stayed. So they've been completely supportive. Our head boys basketball coach, Jackson Ryan, has been nothing but helping with the weight room, helping with the after school stuff. Him and I communicate constantly about building that after school program, having our kids work together. And he has, kept me in the loop on everything and let me, stay in the loop when I'm not there and then kind of lead when I am there. So, the community has been fantastic. I mean, you couldn't have asked for a better transition. And the fact that they've allowed me to not look like a hypocrite to kids because I just leave a bunch of kids in the dust mid-year and kind of break that relationship, has been fantastic. And I couldn't ask for anything more from them and what they've allowed me to do.
Well, Coach, again, I thank you. I appreciate it, and I wish you the best.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.